Okay, so I've decided I'm going to start doing a new series of videos. In addition to my regular journal wannabe pop star life entries, I want to start talking a lot about TV. I watch a lot of TV, and I have a lot of opinions. If you haven't noticed, I have a lot of opinions about things. I'm going to preface this series of videos by saying I don't want anybody leaving any kind of comment saying anything like, it's just TV. I know that. I know that this is just TV. I know I should probably read a book. I'm actually reading a book right now. Maybe one day I'll do videos talking about books. Right now I'm doing videos talking about TV. I'd like to make these video series a dialogue. I'd like to know what you have to say about what I think, about what you think, and so I'm disabling all text comments and only allowing video responses. I think this will be fun. It'll give me a chance to get to know everyone who's watching me, and yeah. So that's what I want. That's the rules of my video. I'm using a lot of my hands. So entry number 1, I want to talk about The View. I miss Rosie. I miss Rosie O'Donnell on that show so much. I never watched The View before Rosie left. I watched when all that buzz happened about Star Jones leaving and her big announcement, and how the very next day Barbara Walters went on and kind of like smacked her back down in place and was like, guess what, America? She didn't resign. We fired her ass. I thought that was awesome. So, Rosie's out, Whoopi's in. I'm a huge Whoopi Goldberg fan. Oh my god. Sister Act 2.
Cold beans and collard beans. Hey, hey, cold beans and collard beans. Hey, hey, you wanna soak that? She sat on a rainbow and Skittles popped out. His eye is on the sparrow.
Oh my god, I love that movie so much. I love Whoopi Goldberg. I've got her book called Book, and I've read biographies about her. I've seen her one-woman show when it was on Broadway. It was kind of disappointing, actually, but I'm still a huge fan. I don't love her on the show, though. She bothers me a little bit. She gets really upset about, like, when people interrupt her. Like, that's her big thing. Like, she'll be talking, and then she'll, like, visibly get upset. Like, and then she'll, like, you know, keep pausing. Like, they keep interrupting her. And finally, she's just like, never mind, just go ahead. Go ahead. It's so passive-aggressive, and it's just, Rosie would never do that. Rosie would be like, hey, I'm talking! And that's what The View is. They interrupt each other. They talk over each other. It's part of why it's fun to watch. Whoopi seems like she's always trying to be uncool and be the odd man out who just doesn't understand what anybody's talking about. You know, like, they'll be talking about American Idol, and Whoopi needs to constantly reiterate that she doesn't watch the show. She doesn't watch TV, and she'll be like, so, on this program, apparently the contestants are judged by a panel. I don't watch the show, but this is what I understand. It's just kind of like, oh my god, how do you not know what happens on American Idol? But that's all the smack that I'm going to talk about Whoopi, because I love her. However, I do have a lot of smack to talk about, not Elizabeth Hasselbeck, Sherri Shepherd. I think Sherri Shepherd is the dumbest person on TV. I can't stand that bitch. You know, this is how I feel about Sherri Shepherd. You know when there's a coworker who you see getting praise or even promoted, and you know they totally don't deserve it, and you know they have no clue what they're doing, but you see them on there and they're just, you know, it bothers you, and it's not even necessarily praise or a promotion that you should be getting. You just see that they have no clue what they're doing up there. That's how I feel when I watch Sherri Shepherd. How did she get this gig? I don't understand. I think it all goes back to the day that Rosie and Elizabeth got into their big fight, and there was these extreme, like, bombs going off on either side of that table, and Joy was sitting there, like, trying to make jokes and be irrelevant like she always is, and Sherri is sitting there kind of like the anchor. And I'm not saying that because she's a big girl, because I like that she's a big girl. But she was kind of like the thing not going crazy. And I think that the producers saw that and was like valued her, or they give her this presence. I just don't think she deserves to be on the show. When they're talking about celebrity gossip, then she's got plenty to say, plenty things to chime in. But anytime they're talking about anything that's, you know, relevant or political and controversial, she clams right up. And, you know, she'll kind of just add on top of what somebody else just said. Like, she'll try to coattail on whatever somebody just said. This is my impression of Sherri Shepherd. This is what she does. Elizabeth will say something important and make a statement. And Sherri goes, exactly, right, no, exactly, that's, Whoopi is on to Sherri. Whoopi looks at Sherri and is like, you need to step it up a little bit, black woman. You need to represent a little bit better because you're just sitting there. So she'll kind of toss something out at Sherri, and then Sherri gets nervous, and she, like, right away her voice drops. She goes for a cheap laugh to kind of skirt the fact that she's not really contributing to what's being said. And that bothers me, because at least Elizabeth is very clear about how she feels about things, and Sherri isn't. And I feel like when pressed, she tends to side with the more unpopular, or maybe the more popular conservative belief, but doesn't want to advertise that, you know? Like, they were talking one time about a book about, like, teaching kids how other kids might have two mommies or two daddies, and they kind of made her say how she felt about that, because of course she tried to just make a joke. When you ask her something, she tries to make some kind of a joke, and I don't know, I'm just trying to get my money and go shopping. And everyone laughs because, you know, she's acting like Star Jones used to act. And finally they made her talk about this, and I couldn't believe her response. It was purely homophobic. And I hate the word homophobic. That's not the right word, but she is not a big fan of the gays. And she was just kind of like, I think that for myself personally, I would not read a book like that to my child, because that is not something I want them exposed to. But that is like, that I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm speaking like for me, like just for myself. That is how I feel about my household. So because you prefaced it by saying, this is just how I feel, then it's not homophobic? That's fucked up. Okay, as you can see, I have a lot of things to say. I'm going to cut this video short. I'm sure it's gone over long. I hope you've been entertained, and I look forward to video responses. Trust me, there will be a lot more videos on the way.